Hello, everybody. Nice to see everybody. Lots of familiar faces here and new faces as well. So my name is Laura Minkowski, and I'm an international life and relationship coach. Actually, an astrological life and relationship coach. Because I know so much about astrology, and I do incorporate it into my daily life in all ways. So I coach in English, Spanish, Finnish, and Italian, and I love giving these astrology talks. I'm not an astrologer, but I know a lot about astrology. So that's why, yeah, I give these talks. And today I'm going to be talking about the full moon in Aquarius, which is tomorrow, the 23rd of July, and this is a very, very powerful full moon, and I have several slides to show you why this is such a powerful full moon. So this full moon in Aquarius is strongly connected to the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, which happened on the 21st of December 2020, which was also in Aquarius. This day started a new Aquarian cycle, which is being highlighted by this full moon. So think back to what was happening in your life in December 2020, and specifically the 21st of December 2020. Maybe something major happened around that time. Maybe you were thinking about dreams and ambitions that you wanted to accomplish in this year. So what were your dreams and ambitions for this year back in December? And have you been able to accomplish them? And if you haven't, this is a great time to put more energy and action, to make those dreams come true. So this is calling all visionaries, disruptors, and change agents. As the Aquarius full moon beams overhead on the 23rd of July, it showers the world with futuristic, idealistic vibes. And make that a double dose, because on August 22nd, 2021, there will be a sequel full moon in the same sign. So this is really powerful, and this is very unusual. It's very unusual for there to be two full moons in the same sign back to back. So that shows you how incredibly powerful this Aquarian lunar time is right now. And right now is a time that you need to be completely honest with yourself, who you are. This is a time to, put down all the masks, right? Like, you need to be comfortable in being who you are, and, and think about what do you want to bring into your life, and what do you want to contribute to the world at large as well. So it's all about thinking about the future, and what's that ideal life and future, that you would like to create. So that's twice the motivation to ditch the conventional, right? Ditch the conventional and experiment with cutting edge approaches to absolutely everything. Now is the time to think outside the box in every way. Get out of the box. Don't even see the box. Don't even see the box anymore. So as you detour away from the norm, embrace the beautiful paradox of Aquarius, which is being individualistic and collaborative at once. So that's what Aquarius is about. It's being, your individual person, on one hand, but then being a part of the greater good, or like the bigger picture of life as well. So Aquarius is a sign of collaborative groups, teams, and humanitarian efforts. So the first of the two Aquarius full moons in 2021 evokes the spirit of inclusivity and inspiration, and it's to redefine community for the diversifying, modern world. So think about, what does community mean to you, and what kind of community do you want to be a part of? Do you want to be a part of a divisive community, like what all the divisiveness that's happening in the world right now, which sets up a very dangerous precedent? Or do you want to, be a part of like a collaborative, unified community? What kind of community and what kind of world do you want? So July's full moon is called the buck moon because the antlers of the male deer are in full development at this time. In many wisdom traditions around the world, deer are considered sacred carriers of peace, reminding us to open our hearts and love gently and unconditionally. That's a message that cool-headed humanitarian Aquarius can always get down with, right? So that's why it's called the buck moon, because of the antlers of the male deer. And it's about opening our hearts and loving gently and unconditionally. So one of the things that this full moon in Aquarius does is to, you can activate your activism, right? So feel like making the world a better place. Power to the people. Aquarius energy guides towards activism and humanitarian missions. So with karmic Saturn journeying through Aquarius, people around, from March 21st, 2020 until March 7th, 2023, people around the globe are continuing to mobilize for change. There's a lot of mobilization for change around the world now. So no matter what you're called to act, the first two of the Aquarius full moons in 2021, brings a public service announcement that there is strength in numbers. And that is so true. There's so much strength in numbers. And think about, what groups and what numbers do you want to belong to? Go beyond individual efforts, looking for organizations, both online and in your community, whose mission you'd like to support. Invite your social network, to contribute with these meaningful acts. For example, you can post a link in your social media bios, directing people to actions they can take now. So think about, like, is there a charity that you want to help with? Is there some kind of humanitarian mission that you would like to be a part of? Because right now, this full moon in Aquarius activates all of that. So think about what can you do to help the greater good? What can you do to help make the world a better place? So a unified, so then another thing that the full moon in Aquarius highlights is embrace belonging without fitting in. So a unified effort doesn't require uniform behavior. Eccentric Aquarius has special superpowers, celebrating individuality and togetherness simultaneously. That might sound like a paradox, but it's not. Shame and vulnerability expert Brené Brown uncovered this in her research. The desire to fit in is actually the main barrier to accessing a sense of belonging. So this is a direct quote from Brené Brown. Belonging is an innate human desire to be part of something larger than us. Because this yearning is so primal, we often try to acquire it by fitting in and by seeking approval, which not only hollow substitutes for belonging, but often barriers to it. Because true belonging only happens when we present our authentic, imperfect selves to the world. Our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. So that's a really, really good point there. When we present our authentic, imperfect selves to the world, right? Because obviously, we all have, our good points, we all have our pros and our cons, right? So it's about accepting yourself, with everything, accept all your good features and accept all your flaws as well. So our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. So the more you accept yourself fully, the more you're going to be accepted, in the world at large, and to any group or community that you want to be a part of. In other words, accept yourself, then be yourself. Easier said than done, but a worthy challenge to accept under the first two of the Aquarius full moons in 2021. Do you suppress your opinions for fear they may be unpopular in a group? Do you always feel compelled to like the same books and clothes as your friends? The herd mentality is a natural human tendency. It's a survival instinct encoded into our primal brains. The Aquarius full moon creates space for differentiation and discourse. So don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to say how you really feel and what your true opinions are, right? Because sometimes, we can be swayed to say things that we really don't feel, right? So this Aquarius, full moon gives you the strength and the courage to be yourself completely. That's one of the main messages of this full moon in Aquarius and this Aquarian time. If you're parsing through new concepts, read and research before, say, unleashing on Twitter. With so many charged topics on the table in 21, and there's definitely a lot of charged topics on the table, it's best to enter the conversation from an informed place, especially with this conscious, intellectual zodiac energy. So do your research. Before you start having a big debate about something, do your research and be open to different points of views as well. So you also have a chance to get weird now. You know, Aquarius loves, you know, eccentric things. Like I said, you know, think outside the box, do different things. You're allowed to be weird now, right? So that's great. You know, you can be silly and you could be weird. So the first of the two Aquarius full moons in 2021 urges you to stop hiding the parts of yourself that might be quirky, eccentric, or just not in perfect harmony with people around you. Because Aquarian energy is all about live and let live, this full moon is great for authentic sharing without forcing your ideas on anyone else. So this is friendly, convivial energy at its best. It's platonic, playful, and decidedly not romantic. Aquarius is irresistibly likable and adorably quirky, which makes this one of the most liberating lunar lifts of the year. So this Aquarius full moon is giving you permission, you know, like be quirky, like be silly, be playful, have fun. You know, now is the time. You know, now is the time to do all of that. You know, and my rising sign is Aquarius. You know, and I like to be, you know, playful and silly and quirky and just find, like, I, you know, laugh a lot and just find joy in like the simplest, you know, little things in life. So yeah, so this gives you permission to do that as well. So another thing is you can envision a utopian world now. So do you have a radical idea? Ruled by side-spinning Uranus, Aquarius is a sign of the future and all things sci-fi. So it's a forward-focused mad scientist who envisions a quirky, idealized world. While your beliefs may not be quite so stark and stripped of emotion, consider what the perfect world would be like if you could create it. That's a very big theme round, you know? Now that we're coming, you know, we've all been in this, you know, crazy Corona time for 18 months. And, you know, the world is never going to be the same as it used to be, you know, before Corona. So we have to think about what kind of new earth do we want to create, right? And that's something that we all need to do. And we're all going to, you know, create this new world collectively, right? So what does it look like? And how can you bring a healthy drop of that to your daily life? Maybe it's to the tune of Burning Man, where in years when festivals were up and running, every day is a costume party and people share their talents, goods, and services without exchanging money. Of course, that's a bit extreme, you know, this Burning Man, you know, festival. But think about, you know, what kind of future, what kind of world do you want to live in? You know, and then you can read up on, you know, New Age and shamanic ideas, or even deepen your knowledge of astrology, right? Astrology is very Aquarian. You know, astrology is one of the most Aquarian themes, you know, out there. So there's many things that you can do, you know, to be more Aquarian. So sometimes you can take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So uber rational Aquarius is a master of emotional objectivity. The first of the 2 Aquarius full moons is a great day to practice the Buddhist principle of non-attachment. Yes, you may want something with every fiber of your being, but you also understand that if it doesn't happen, you'll still be okay. If you think you can't survive without a person, an outcome, or whatever you're hooked into, this lunar light helps you release that fear. Let go, and the Aquarius full moon will bring a better long-term resolution to your issues. And this theme of non-attachment is huge, because I would say that it's one of the hardest things for people to do. When you really want something, most of the time you tend to be so attached to that thing that you want and that outcome that you want, that you actually block the energy. You know, you block the energy from that thing being manifested because you're holding on to it so tightly, right? Excuse me. So then what's important to do is, you know, when you have an attachment or when you want something, you put the intention out into the world, and then you release it, right? you release it, and you trust the universe, and you trust the process. You know, you trust that it's gonna, you know, manifest whichever way, you know, is the best way. So so non-attachment is really big, and this Aquarius full moon helps you in that non-attachment as well. So you can be a geek as well in this Aquarius full moon. So Aquarius rules technology. So circle this full moon for spreading the message through social media and digital platforms. And then, you know, yeah, it's all about technology, Aquarius as well. So an Aquarius full moon prompts you to up your technical know-how. So this full moon is a great time to launch an online marketing campaign, crowdfund, or build out your social networking strategy. So yeah, so it's a great thing. It's a great time to, you know, to do projects online, you know, to do projects in social media, for example. So, you know, you can host a virtual workshop, you know, and like we basically host these, you know, every day in Internations. You know, this is my third talk, you know, back to back, you know, this week. Idealistic intellectual Aquarius rebels in the realm of cutting edge ideas. So the first of the two Aquarius full moons, you know, creates a perfect space for a workshop or salon. Since this is a sign governing technology, let go of the idea that gathering people in the virtual space will engender more Zoom fatigue, right? Like we've all been in so many Zooms that sometimes we feel Zoom fatigue. But the full moon in Aquarius helps, you know, so that you don't feel that Zoom fatigue, and that you get excited about, you know, about a new project online, or a new event online. So this full moon also invites us to inhale deeply. So as any yogi will attest, there's nothing more centering than deep inhalation of oxygen. And if we learned anything from the pandemic, it's what a precious gift it is to simply be able to breathe. Aquarius is an air sign, so turning our attention to our inhales and our exhales. So stress and trauma can cause shallow breathing, which in turn intensifies anxiety. So when you find yourself in that loop, take a few deep breaths in and out to calm yourself and even get to sleep. You can also plug in the air purifier or a dehumidifier, or you can try an essential oil diffuser for a fragrant and soothing blast. So grapefruit, lemon, tangerine, and other citrus oils are very uplifting and energizing, making them perfect for the Aquarius mad scientist moments that keep you up working on your master plan until the early hours of the morning. You know, when you're coming up with this plan of how you're going to make your life better and how you're going to make the world better, you know, you can use these essential oils to help you stay awake. I mean, I personally use essential oils as well, and I've given workshops with essential oils as well, so I know that they work. So this full moon in Aquarius will also throw the spotlight on your relationships. You know, relationships is something, you know, that tends to be highlighted in all full moons, because basically full moons intensify anything that you're feeling, gets intensified in the full moon, right? And you know, and of course we feel a lot in relationships. So this one also, you know, brings up relationships. So Aquarians are the ultimate friends with certain benefits of the zodiac. The ruler of the 11th house of networking, friendship, and long-term wishes. They're most comfortable with platonic bonds and do a fantastic job creating massive webs of interpersonal connections, endearing themselves to a variety of teams, clubs, political organizations, etc. Not only do they value community and working with others to pursue the greater good, but they have no interest in fitting into one narrowly defined friend group, right? So Aquarius doesn't like labels. Aquarius doesn't like labels at all. So that's the kind of time that we're in now, and you can come up, you know, you can redefine yourself, right? But you know, you don't have to like conform to any, you know, standard labels. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about how this full moon is going to affect all the different signs. So the full moon in Aquarius for Aries. With a full moon in your 11th house of networking, you'll want to call out and fix any ongoing drama involving co-workers or friends. So for Aries, you know, it's about you know, fixing any ongoing drama you know, that you have with your coworkers or your friends. Then for Taurus, your 10th house of career is activated by this full moon. So you might be frustrated if you haven't received the recognition you deserve. And in turn, you'll look for new ways to define success. So for Taurus, it's all about your career. I mean, many times, you know, Taurus is very career driven in general. So, you know, especially, you know, this full moon is highlighting that even more. So if you are having a hard time at work, you can look, you know, at different ways, you know, you can look at different things, you know, to do, or, you know, new ways to define success. For Gemini, the full moon lights up your 9th house of adventure, triggering frustration from being able to get back to your usual buzzy, globe-trotting routine, and possibly inspiring you to nurture your curiosity in different ways. So Gemini in general, they tend to love to travel a lot. And of course now, you know, traveling is more restricted now. So it's a case of being, you know, more creative and thinking about different things, you know, that you can do to satisfy that innate curiosity that Gemini has. For Cancer, it's falling in your 8th house of emotional bonds. So this full moon will have you facing and resolving to work through deep-rooted wounds. It could be time to open up to your partner or another loved one. So for Cancer in general, Cancer is a very sensitive sign and feels a lot. So most full moons, you know, the Cancer is the sign of the moon. And for example, my moon is in Cancer, right? So I feel things on a really, really, you know, deep level. And Cancers in general feel a lot with the full moon, because it is their, you know, the moon is, you know, Cancer's planet. So full moons are always very emotional time for Cancers. And now, you know, now it's about looking at those wounds. If you have deep-rooted wounds, you know, it could be time to, you know, talk to your partner, another loved one, or, you know, or a coach or a therapist, or for anybody that you feel comfortable talking to. For Leo, it's just a day into your season, you know, because now it's Leo time. It starts tomorrow. It starts, you know, on the day of this full moon. So in your 7th house of partnership could kick up tensions with your partner, a close friend, or a business partner. So it's time to strike the balance between your end game and their needs in order to get on the same page. So for Leo, it's about, you know, finding, you know, monitoring whatever tension you have, you know, with your partner or a close friend or a business partner. For Virgo, falling in your 6th house of wellness, the full moon also forms an awkward angle to social Venus in your sign, doling out challenges around self-care and setting boundaries for your health. You could be getting the message that while you want to help everyone around you, it's crucial that you put your needs first. So for Virgo, you really need to take care of yourself first, because many times Virgos can tend to think about other people and they want to take care of other people. But now is the time that Virgo needs to take care of themselves, you know, before they try to fix everybody else and everything else. For Libra, with a full moon falling in your 5th house of romance and self-expression, you might be finding it tough to talk about what's in your heart and set aside time for fun, spontaneity, and joy. Letting go of a set vision can help. So for Libra, you know, you should set, you know, time apart for fun, spontaneity, and joy now. So for Scorpio, with the full moon in your 4th house of home life, you might need to tackle tensions with loved ones or issues with your house that you've been kicking under the rug. Facing them head on now can make for solid healing. So for Scorpio, you know, look at your home life. You know, is there something that needs to be fixed in your home, or, is there a relationship that needs to be fixed? That's what Scorpio needs to look at. For Sagittarius, the full moon activates your third house of communication, amplifying your social life and appetite for learning to the point that you could be teetering on burnout. So you'll be figuring out what's truly worth saying yes to. So for Sagittarius, you have to be careful with burnouts. Sagittarius is a fire sign, so the fire signs, all the fire signs need to be careful with burnout. Because many times the fire signs just go and go and go and go, and then they don't even notice that they're getting really, really exhausted. So for Sagittarius, it's about figuring out, learning to say no as well, right? Like if you always say yes to everything, you have to learn to say no, and you have to learn to set boundaries as well. For Capricorn, your second house of income is illuminated by this full moon, and you could be aggravated if you're not seeing the financial fruits of all your grueling labor. Caring for yourself spiritually and finding ways to get out of your comfort zone now can offer a helpful new perspective. So for Capricorn, look out for your finances, and take care of yourself spiritually as well, and find ways to get out of your comfort zone, because Capricorn tends to be a sign that's, very comfortable in its comfort zone. So try to find ways to get out of your comfort zone. For Aquarius, the full moon in Aquarius, so this full moon falls in your sign, boosting your sensitivity and making you feel like you're lacking the support you need to make big picture goals a reality. Examining emotional wounds that are being triggered now can promote a centered, empowered outlook. So for Aquarius, this is a really powerful Aquarian time, but at the same time, because Aquarius is being highlighted so much, whenever that happens, that tends to bring up the wounds from the past as well, right? So it's very important to look at those wounds, acknowledge those wounds, and find a way to heal those wounds. Because once you do, then you're gonna be more empowered than ever, right? So it's like you have to look at both of those things. You need to heal whatever wounds you have now that are coming up, and then on the other side of that, you'll feel more empowered than ever before. And this whole year is a very Aquarian year. So this is especially for Aquarius and for everybody else as well. It's a year of doing things differently, and it's a year of a lot of changes as well. So for Pisces, with a full moon in your 12th house of spirituality, you'll want to take mental health day, but your daily responsibilities could throw a wrench in your plans. All you can do is your best to check all the boxes. So for Pisces, it's about, taking care of your mental health and making sure, that you're okay, and that you feel, well and balanced, and that you're taking care of yourself, in the middle of all of these very strong energies right now. All right, so may you find peace within yourself and be able to manifest all your Aquarian dreams and ambitions. And I offer coaching sessions in English, Spanish, Finnish, and Italian. You can get in touch with me at lauracoaching@gmail.com. My website is laurarenenkoski.com, and I have a new Wake Up to Your True Potential YouTube series where I interview amazing people around the world that are full of, information on how to live a better, more inspirational life. I post a new interview every Friday. So tomorrow, actually, I'm posting the next interview. So yeah, thank you everybody so much, and I will stop the recording now.